Hello folks, welcome back. So we're getting started with Stata, and I wanted to do a quick overview of how you open up Stata and open up a data file in Stata. There are a couple of ways to do this. Pick the one that is easiest for you to remember and stick with it. So a fast way to begin is to go to your programs, find Stata in the program windows. We use Stata 15, so we can open it up from our programs. And then we need to open up data. Notice we have no variables here, and so we need to open up a data set. So you can do that by clicking on the Open Folder icon or going to File, Open. And you have to know where your data are stored. For the majority of the things that we're going to be tutorials that we're going to be doing, the data are on the Roman Littlefield website. If you recall, I had a link to that in the week 1 Blackboard. If you don't know how to get to this, you can very easily type in the name of the textbook, Statistics for Social Understanding. Type that into Google. It's the first link that appears. And under the Resources tab, you go to the companion website, and that's where you'll see the link to all of the data sets. All right, I suggested in the first tutorial, and we'll do so again now, download all of the .dta files and the code books, whatever is labeled codebook and any file that has .dta, download that now to a folder that you've created specifically for this class. So I created a folder called 318, and within that I created a folder called Stata Data, and I downloaded all of the data sets here. Notice they are all Stata dataset and PDF type, except the couple of the code books are in Word document or Excel spreadsheet format. But these are, for the entire semester, the data sets that we're going to be using from this website. So it'll be easiest if you just download them all at once, create a folder specifically for this class, and keep all your data sets there so that you don't have to go through finding the data multiple times. Okay, so far we've opened up Stata. Now we need to open up a data set within Stata. We know where it is now. I've told you it's in the 318 folder in Stata Data. Don't pay attention to my long file paths. I have a data management issue. So in your case, hopefully you have a far shorter path, but remember where the data are. So we're going to use the example data set, the example Stata data set from chapter 1. And I'm going to find that in my 318 folder. I know I saved it in the Stata Data folder. And here you can see example statadata.dta. That's the file that I know that I was looking for this tutorial. And I'm going to go ahead and click Open. You see the variables have now been added here in the variable window. So the data set is open and ready to be played with. We can always start with browse so that we can look at the data in a sort of spreadsheet format, and again looking at how many observations we have, how many variables we have. That information is listed as well in the data properties window, and so on. So that's one way to open data in Stata. The other way is you can go directly to that data file and open it by double-clicking on it. I can't double-click because it tries to open by default with an old version of Stata, so I'm going to right-click and open with Stata 15. And I've just achieved the same thing with fewer steps by opening the data directly. This is the part that I'd like you to try to remember, which is that you can also open up a data set through the do file. So we're going to introduce the do file here, and this is how we are going to be working from here on out. You open up Stata, go to the Window tab, and then go to Do File Editor and create a new do file. And I'm going to actually copy this entire path by highlighting it and using Control-C, or right-clicking and copying. and pasting it into the do file editor. And you'll see now I have use quote this long file path .dta, so example stata data .dta, end quote. And what I can do with this is save this do file. I'm going to call it chapter 1 do. And if I close out of Stata completely, you'll see that where I just saved that do file in the Stata data folder, it appears here, saved just now, as chapter 1 do file. If I click on this do file, it opens up the do file for me, and I can highlight this command and click execute selection, or do. And you'll notice here on the left, when I did that, the program automatically ran the do file and ran the command that I selected and highlighted. And it opened up, that command told the program, use this data set, which you will find at this full path. And it opened up that data set. So I achieved the same thing that I did by opening up Stata directly and going to File, Open the data set. However, now if I need to use this again and work on this project again later, I have a do file that will open up that data set, and then I can write subsequent commands. For example, browse. I know that'll be the next thing that I want to do. Perhaps summarize the entire data set. And then maybe I want to summarize just one of the variables. And in our chapter 1, we used generate. In our chapter 1 tutorial, we used generate. I believe it was orgs2 as an example. And we replaced what was it? Replace organizations equals 1 if orgs was greater than or equal to 1. And we replaced orgs2 equals 0, whoops, 0, if orgs equals 0. So this was just some of the sample code from our chapter 1. I wrote it here in the do file, and now this is the beauty of a do file. I can highlight all of this and have it run automatically. So browse pulls up my editor, then it ran the summarize command that I had highlighted here right after browse, and it summarized the entire data set. Then I wanted to summarize specifically just GPA. Then I created a new variable called orgs2 using the generate and replace command. And perhaps I want to check the coding of orgs2. So I'm going to type tabulate, or abbreviate that as tab, orgs2. And now I can save the changes to this chapter 1 do file. Now I see that I've recoded the 10 responses to be 0 and 1 in an indicator variable in orgs2. So the beauty is now I've saved this do file. I can close out of it. I can close out of Stata. And now if I want to go back to that chapter 1 do file and work with this same data set further, but not lose the work that I've done, and also be able to double check what I've done in the past and make sure that I achieved what I was trying to achieve, I now have this do file that I can build on, and it automatically opens up the data set, if I tell it exactly where to find that data set, and the commands that I had within it. So I highly encourage you to get into the habit of using do files, first of all. Second of all, download all of the data from the website into a folder for this class. And you might want to have a subfolder that's specifically the textbook data, so we might call it textbook data, that we can easily find for all of the tutorials. Okay, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. Have a good day.